If you wish to gain muscle and lose fat at the same time, you must, number 1, train with sufficient intensity to stimulate growth, and number 2, reduce your daily calorie intake by up to 1,000 below your maintenance need of calories.
Twinkies, fudge rounds, and Little Debbie snack cakes, not exactly what we'd call diet foods, but a nutrition professor lost 30 pounds eating just that. Kansas State University professor Mark Haub spent 10 weeks eating Twinkies, brownies, zebra cakes, and corn pops. He consumed no more, now this is important, he consumed no more than 1,800 calories a day. Haub did this to prove that in weight loss, what matters most is the total calories in the food you're eating, not the nutritional value. After 10 weeks, he was 27 pounds lighter, and his bad cholesterol was down 20%. Haub did throw in vitamins, protein shakes, and some vegetables, as well as moderate exercise. And he says he is not recommending it for everyone. It was just a calorie counting experiment.
As much confusion as does exist on the subject of training, and it's almost omniprevalent, there is just as much, if not more, on the subject of nutrition. I conducted a personal experiment years ago in which I went on a calorie deficit weight loss diet while training without steroids, and the first week I lost 9 pounds. Then I went on the same diet while taking steroids, and I gained 2 pounds the first week. One point worth making here is that the stealing of calories from adiposity would be a genetically mediated trait, and like all other genetic traits, its expression, how efficiently one's body makes use of calories from fat to form muscle, would vary across a broad range, from those whose body is poor at stealing calories from fat to those whose is very effective, and everything in between. For those who are acceptably lean, as well as those who may be concerned they have a bit too much fat presently, I'd suggest you embark on the suggested routine while in a positive calorie balance of 300 to 500 a day. For that second group, who may have a little more fat than they'd like, I propose that you place your fat loss concerns on hold for 2 or 3 months, put on 10 to 20 pounds of muscle, then go on a fat loss diet, at the end of which you'll not only be leaner, you'll have the extra muscle too. For those who are extremely overweight, who would like to build muscle, yet must lose fat, don't worry. There is a way of dealing with that efficaciously, and I'll get to it soon. To do so in a methodical fashion, start by keeping a 5-day food diary. Write down everything you eat for 5 days, and don't become self-conscious during that period and alter what you have typically been eating. What is needed is a representative sampling, so it may be ascertained what your daily average calorie intake is. Write down everything you eat for 5 days and the quantity. Be as accurate with the quantity as possible, but don't fret if you think you're off a little. At the conclusion of each of the 5 days, sit down with a good calorie counting book. If you don't have one, buy one, as every conscientious bodybuilder should have one, since the caloric dimension of nutrition is vitally important, and tally the total calories for the day. At the end of the 5th day, take the 5 daily totals, add them for a grand total, divide by 5, and you'll have, of course, your daily average caloric intake. You must also weigh yourself at the beginning of day 1 and on the morning of day 6. If you didn't gain or lose during that 5-day period, your daily average is also your daily maintenance level of calories. For those interested in losing fat, reduce your calorie intake by 500 to 1,000 a day below maintenance level, and you'll lose 1 to 2 pounds of fat a week. And as long as you're on a proper, high-intensity training program, you won't lose muscle, and you will likely even gain some. Reducing your calories, 500 to 1,000 per day, is sufficient to starve the fat enough to see a meaningful loss, yet still be enough to feed the lean mass and provide for some growth. Once you've lost the desired weight, go into a positive calorie balance as described.
Again, if you need 3,000 calories a day to maintain yourself, you need 3,000 calories a day, not to gain weight, not to lose weight, but maintain yourself, and all of a sudden you reduce your daily calorie intake to 2,000 calories, then you're going to be 1,000 calories deficient. Where's that 1,000 calories going to come from? Your body fat. That's what body fat is, it's stored energy. Now these 2,000 calories can be 2,000 calories of pure table sugar, and you'll still get ripped. That's right, Mike Mentzer is saying you can get ripped eating pure table sugar. I'm not advocating it, please don't think that. I've had people run out and say, wow, Mike Mentzer said we'll eat pure table Theoretically, you can get ripped. You can become highly defined eating nothing but ice cream, as long as what? Your daily total calorie intake is below your maintenance needed calories. Then you have to resort to body fat for energy.
Likewise, as a person continues to lose weight, his maintenance level goes down, and the weight loss diminishes and eventually comes to a halt. When this starts to happen, reduce calories by another 500 or so a day, and the weight loss will continue. It has been suggested by many reputable nutritional scientists that when on a weight loss program, the individual should not go below 12 to 1,500 calories, as it is impossible to obtain a well-balanced diet below that level. In cases of morbid obesity, it may be necessary to reduce calories even further, but only while under the care of a physician. One will know when he is too low in calories by the fact that he will stop dropping pounds precipitously. Rather than 1 to 2 pounds a week, he'll start losing 4 to 5 pounds a week or even more. This rate of weight loss is indicative that one's muscles have begun to catabolize, which is undesirable for a number of reasons, the least of which is that the loss of lean mass will slow down the metabolism. Since muscle only has 600 calories per pound versus the 3,500 calories per pound of fat, the body will burn up to 6 pounds of muscle to get the same caloric yield as from 1 pound of fat. Hence, the much increased rate of weight loss.
I'm not advocating that because, again, it's not a well-balanced diet. Eat a well-balanced diet, 60% carbohydrates, 25% protein, 15% fat, but eat a reduced calorie diet, that's all. It doesn't have to be all protein. I know the majority of my fellow Mr. Olympia competitors woke up every morning during their training period, grumpy bastards, because all they had to look forward to was tuna fish and water. Anybody who goes to bed hungry and wakes up with tuna fish and water is going to be grumpy. But I woke up in the morning always looking forward to breakfast because I had bran muffins, oftentimes cake and cookies, fruits and vegetables, really. I ate a wide assortment of carbohydrates. Often I would eat just carrot cake for breakfast and coffee because I knew I needed that sugar for the workout. But I didn't do it recklessly. I knew what my daily maintenance needed calories was, and as long as I stayed below that every day, I kept a daily record of my calorie intake. I could eat that cake with impunity and not get fat. I was getting ripped, as a matter of fact. I was eating ice cream at least 4 days a week before the Mr. Olympia contest. Again, not recklessly. I knew that I had to get under 2,500 calories a day. I was averaging about 1,800. So I was burning about 700 calories a day of fat. And I was actually burning more than that because I was so highly active. I was riding a bicycle up to 40 miles a day. And I was literally getting cut up before my very eyes. Every day I'd wake up and I would see more definition. And the night before I just had an ice cream cone. I mean, it's ridiculous eating nothing but protein or tuna fish and water to get cut up.
For those desiring to lose weight, yes, low carbohydrate diets do work. But like all diets that work, it does so by being a calorie deficit diet, one that is lower in calories than maintenance level. You'd be better to reduce the calories of all the macronutrients instead of just one, or you run the risk of not obtaining a well-balanced diet. And if you are on a well-balanced diet with a calorie deficit, it won't hurt your weight loss efforts to have an occasional treat such as a candy bar, piece of pizza, or some ice cream. Just take into account the calories they contain, figure it into your daily calorie budget, and subtract some other food item. A question I get literally almost every day from clients is whether or not it is important to eat 6 meals a day. And the answer is no. It is not necessary to have 6 formal meals a day. The body is quite resourceful in that if you were to skip even one of the 3 square meals in a day, it would make up for it by utilizing more of the nutrients than usual from the next meal. Eat your 3 square meals a day plus a snack or 2, along with your supplements, and you'll be fine. To disrupt one's life to such an extent that he's taking the time to prepare 6 formal meals a day is to make nutrition a neurotic obsession when it should be viewed primarily as a basic need where no more time than is minimally required is spent fulfilling it. While this is patently evident that we possess different metabolic rates, what is less obvious but very important is that the physiologic principles governing metabolism are universal. The chemical processes governing our utilization of food for energy, maintenance, repair, and growth have been clearly mapped and circumscribed by physiologists long ago. Pick up any textbook on exercise physiology or nutritional science, and you'll be reading about what goes on inside of yourself, and your neighbor, and your training partner, and everyone. So while we each possess the unique stamp of an unrepeatable, irreplaceable personality, we're not all that different inside. We all need protein, we all require sleep, we all burn carbohydrates at the rate of 4 calories per gram, we all need intense exercise to stimulate growth, we each possess a limited recovery ability, and as bodybuilders know, muscle growth beyond normal levels is never fast enough. Although you'll be delightfully surprised when you apply the knowledge gained from these tapes. Considering what you know now, having listened to these tapes, are you going to let some hook guide you in the wrong direction merely because he has a 19-inch arm? Are you going to allow your subsequent training activities and dietary practices be continually dominated by the bootleg logic more is better? He who acts contrary to what his perceptions and rational thoughts tell him is the truth is akin to Dostoevsky's underground man who cries, "What do I care for the laws of nature and arithmetic when for some reason I don't like them, or the fact that 2 + 2 = 4? Yes, you are free to evade the responsibility of rational thought and logical deliberation, but not free to escape the consequences. It's up to you.